Right, so we're gonna get back on the job here and actually do some coding, which will be interesting. So the task that we're gonna try and accomplish in this is create ParallelStories.Web project. Shouldn't be too hard, but I'll try and explain what some of it is, which may very well... Can I just delete this? Yeah. So I'll explain quite a lot of stuff, so that'll probably take a while. We'll see anyway, we'll see how long it gets. I'm trying to keep these videos at 20 minutes, but obviously it's going to fluctuate somewhat based on how the coding's going. However, we're gonna do this, create ParallelStories.Web project. We'll start out nice and easy. We go to Solution Parallel Stories. We go to Add New Project, and we want to add a web application. We'll call this ParallelStories.Web. Right, totally reasonable. I don't really want application insights for telemetry, just because that sounds like a whole lot of noise. We're going to start out with the MVC one, right? Just because it's nice and easy. And we're going to turn off authentication because we're going to deal with that ourselves. That's going to be one of the first things we do, is create our authentication. You can use the stuff that Windows gives you, and it is pretty good, but I want to have full control over this and understand everything. And the Microsoft authentication, I just don't understand it that well, honestly. Never took the time. If I make my own, I'll have to take the time. It might not be the best, but it'll be mine, you know? So, we've got no authentication, we've got MVC, with that checked. We could add unit tests, probably add them later. I do love unit tests, so I will definitely be adding them, but I'm not going to add them here, is what I'm saying. I'm going to use the old programmer cop-out and say, I'll write the tests later. That's what we always say. Of course, we as programmers in general, not me. I do not advocate for not writing unit tests. I'm a firm believer in unit tests, and if you don't know what a unit test is, I'm sure I'll explain it in an episode soon enough. Okay, so it creates a whole bunch of stuff for us straight off the bat. You can see, if I go to global and I just F5, this should take us to our website. It's not going to be impressive, not in the slightest. It's going to be like the least impressive website you've ever seen. And it's going to look like it's not even been created by us. Which is fine. Technically it hasn't, really. Visual Studio's done all the work. But here it is, right? This is our website. You see it's on the local host on port 49759. That's fair enough. And it's got 3 pages. It's got home, which is just this page. It's got about, which is just a really basic about page, and it's got contact, which is where you're supposed to put your contact details, right? And it's got application name in the corner. So if I close this and I come back here and I stop this, we can look in here and see how that kind of ties into what we just saw, right? So we have our views. They're here. You see we've got about, contact, and index. So index is the most complex one. It's just HTML, really. You see, it's just all the standard shit. Pretty basic. It's using Bootstrap. I believe that's what this is. Which is always nice. Bootstrap's pretty good. I've been getting the hang of using Bootstrap. I don't fully understand it, but we'll do a video on Bootstrap where I learn some more stuff about it. Again, at some point. It should be relatively soon. I want to try and get all this framework stuff done at the start, you know. But today we're going to focus on just getting the application running. So we have index, we have about, which is much simpler. It's just the title, the message, and some information. And then we have contact, which is just a bunch of, again, static information. There's nothing really exciting going on in these. About is relatively exciting because it's using the bag. But we'll get to the bag later. We'll get to the bag. For now, we're going to delete a lot of this stuff. We're going to delete everything except about. Because I like about. I think it's a reasonable page. I think this one's too complex for a main page. We want to be doing everything from scratch. So, well, first thing we should do really is add to source control. Come on. Source control, add to source control. Ignore all, ignore all. Okay, so that's it added. So if we go to Team Explorer and we go to our pending changes, you can see here, packages we want to exclude. And in fact, we want to undo these. Okay. Now down here it's going to say detected 61 ads. And so what we want to say is somewhere here there should be like a packages folder that isn't added. I think it's where repository is maybe. Ignore by folder, packages. Boom. So now anything that goes in the packages directory isn't going to clog up this. Isn't going to clog up, this. Our included changes list. Because packages is just a massive pain in the ass. It's really... You need it because it's where all your stuff's getting downloaded to that you need to build. But you don't want it constantly being added to your source control. Because you can just recreate it when you do a build. So, anyway, we've got these added. It thinks it's adding these. Oh no, they are a little bit different. Okay, we'll let those changes. We'll let them ride. So, I keep saying so a lot, but it's fine. I use it all the time. What else have we got? We're going to get rid of contact and index. So we'll delete these. Yeah, okay. We'll keep these. These are pretty important within reason. So we have view start, which is like I guess it's the first. It's where you can set stuff like this. You can set a bunch of properties and stuff. It's basically a little bit of HTML that gets added to the start of every file, I think. Or every view. I might be wrong on that, but that's what I take it to mean. Basically, I never touch it. Never put anything in there. It's not worth the hassle. Then we have layout. This is at the top of every file. Or every page. So every page has your title. It includes a bunch of stuff. I'll explain this later. It's got these links. We want to get rid of about and contact. In fact, yeah, we kind of want to get rid of them all, honestly. We don't really want a nav bar at the moment. We don't want a nav bar. Okay, let's get rid of the nav bar. We'll let it render the body. We'll change this to say parallel stories. Then we will so that's fine. What is this one doing? I guess this was our nav bar. I guess the whole thing was our nav bar, and this was adding application name and being able to click it to go to the home. So let's see what it looks like now anyway. We've made a few changes. It's probably going to break because I haven't updated the mappings. Is it going to break? Yes. Okay, good. That means I understand what's going on. So I've deleted those 2 pages, which means I can also go in here and I can delete these two. These are the C# versions, so these are the back end. All this HTML and JavaScript is the front end, which means that it's run on the client machine. So it's your web browser basically that's running that shit. This is the .NET side, which is run on the server. So this will be run on my machine. And then your front end in your web browser will talk to my machine to get all the information it needs. Pretty standard stuff, but I don't know what kind of technical level people who watch this shit are going to be doing. So we'll rename that to index. I realised that should have been about. Anyway. So we'll rename that to index for now. Nice and simple. We'll rename this to index. Nice and simple. We'll call this home. And we will title message. We don't need those. In fact, we don't need any of this shit. We'll just keep this, and it will be, it'll say, welcome to Parallel Stories, the best site ever made. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1. Right? Now, somewhere else, I believe it's global ASACs. Nah, global ASACs is fine. This is just all the stuff that it does when it boots up for the first time on the server side. We don't need to worry about that just now. But we will be looking at the bundle config later, once we start adding JavaScript stuff to our website. But we don't need to worry about it now, and that's what counts. So I think that's it. If we F5 this, what are we going to get now? We get there we go. Welcome to Parallel Stories, the best site ever made. Brilliant. I feel like we should really be setting our application name. You know? Where's it getting it? It's literally just saying application name. That's a bit whack. And is it, why is it calling it application name in the header? Well, let's rename it to Parallel Stories just for niceness. We'll end up deleting all this anyway in the future, but I think it's there's no point in getting rid of it just yet. We'll keep that, we'll keep that. I guess we could get rid of a lot of this shit. Let's get rid of that. And let's get rid of that. And let's see what the hell that looks like. At the moment we're just experimenting, you know. Experimenting with the HTML. I know I shouldn't be stopping this and hitting F5 every time, it's a waste, but I always close Chrome. It's one of my biggest weaknesses. I always close Chrome when I hit stop. So Parallel Stories, best site ever made. Not the most impressive site ever. Not the worst. I've made worse, believe that. So, we've got a super basic title now. You see here we can do this. So we don't want it to be myASP.NET application. We want it to be Parallel Stories. And in fact, this should really be like Unless I just broke that. I did just break that. Awesome. Well, that's good to know. I would have thought that would have worked, though. I guess that didn't work because... You know what, whatever. I'm not going to worry about it just yet. It's something to do with it, doing it at real time, whereas this is generating it not on the fly. This is generating it based on C# stuff. And it's doing it before sending it out to the client, whereas this viewbag stuff is all done client side. I think that's the difference. I might be talking rubbish, don't take my word for it, but I believe if you treat it that way, you will be treating it correctly. So what have we got? We've got a controller. This is our back end. It doesn't really do anything at the moment, which is okay. Then we've got our index. We've got our layout. We've got an error page, which is nice. And we do have Bootstrap, which is very interesting. It does make me almost want to bootstrapify some of this, you know. But we'll do that in a later video. This one, we have created what we came here to create, which is a website that we can run, right? Comes with a bunch of packages. This is where the packages directory gets built that I was whining about earlier. It'll download all these different packages to the packages directory, and you can add new packages, which I think we'll do in the next one, but you can see here it's pulling in Bootstrap, it's pulling in jQuery, it's pulling in the ASP stuff, it's pulling in Antler, whatever that is, don't really know. So it's pulling in a bunch, which is nice. We'll make it, I think the next episode is going to be Angular. I want to try and set up some Angular scripts for the front end. And that's where this stuff will start coming into play. The bundle config, because this is where you load all your JavaScript. But that's for another video. For now, we'll finish this one off. So, we want to, these are our included changes. We want to make sure that everything we're included, we want to include. Yep. This is always worth doing. It may not seem it, but it really is. In fact, I'd like to tidy up that script directory a bit, just to test something. Add new folder. All right, it's running every time. Add new folder, and we'll call this just plugins. They're not really plugins, but I like the word. I guess they called them plugins. Sons of bitches. Whatever. I don't know what reference.js is, so I'm not going to worry about it. But here we need to create a bundle. So what we're doing here is you create a bundle of JavaScript files, right? And then you can include that bundle on a web page. So, for example, this was pulling in every jQuery file from scripts jQuery. They're not in there anymore. They're in scripts plugins jQuery. Scripts plugins jQuery. And yeah, this is basically going to be me typing plugins a bunch of times. That's fine though. It's a coding video. You didn't come here to not see me type. I know I could copy paste, but where's the fun in that? Right, so that's that. That should be pulling everything from the right place now. We don't need to update the actual script, the bundle names, which is nice. That's just like the tag. So this is what we're calling it, and these are all the files that are in it. or directories that are in it, or wildcards that are in it, or, you know, whatever. So we'll be making one of these for Angular in the next episode, but we don't need to do it yet. What we do need to do is make sure it still runs, because you never know. You just never know. Survey says... Ping! Didn't work. Something's gone wrong. We can check what's gone wrong by hitting F12. You can do this at home. Maybe nothing has gone wrong. Maybe this is exactly what it should look like. Don't see anything in the console. We did delete a bunch of shit. I think this is what it's supposed to look like. Just a link, some text, a line, and the copyright. So that's pretty sweet. We've got that working now. It must still be pulling these in. Otherwise... well, I guess it could not be. Let me just verify something. It's good to verify, you know. I need to verify that my layout really is supposed to be that naff. I don't think it is. I don't think it's supposed to be that naff. I think I've messed something up. I've messed something up. What have I messed up? Scripts, plugins, jQuery, blah blah blah, that's all there. Modernizer is all there. Bootstrap, respond. Plugins. You know what, we can check this easily. What am I doing? There's a much easier way to check this. We can run the website. Then we can hit F12. We can see that it's loaded the stuff it needs, right? And index. God, I need this to be bigger. Index has the navbar, has the modernizer script, it has the bootstrap, the jQuery. I feel like it's missing one. Like it's missing one that it's meant to have. But which one? CSS maybe? Could it be the CSS is missing? Did I move the CSS? No, I didn't. Right, that's the mistake I've made. This is the thing about freestyle coding, you make a lot of mistakes. So these aren't in the scripts directory, so I shouldn't have been adding plugins to that. They're just in the content. That was just me not paying attention and going on autopilot. This time I can feel it in my bones. Tick, 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 boom. Come on. Give me my website, yo. I'm impatient. What's it doing? It's running. There we go. Okay. See, that's why you test before you actually check it in. Otherwise you can end up with weird shit happening like that, and an innocuous change that you thought wouldn't make a difference actually makes a ton of difference. However, we're at a stable point now. It's loading everything. Everything's fine. So we can submit this change set. I need to look at this and see what it's trying to add. It's trying to add the plugins. Ah, well, yes, that's a good point. But they are being added. What happens if I say, yeah, okay, come on in? Okay. Anyway, added ParallelStories.Web project. Check in. Chickadee, check yourself before you wreck yourself. And that's that done. Change set 7. So when you look at this change set, you can go, oh, interesting. So that was done to do this. And then you can look at this and go, oh, interesting. So that was done as a part of this. And you can go, ah, interesting. So then as a part of this, there was also this. You see, and you can start, I need to close this because it's done. I need to set it to closed. I didn't do that last time. So now both of our tasks are done, right? That's pretty nice. So let's quickly go back to the good old TFS. There we go. Let's go back to T to the F to the S. And we'll go back to work. And we'll add a few more things that we should do to our backlog. Just a few though, nothing crazy. This video is already at 25-ish minutes, I think. Don't want it much longer than that. So inside this user story, we are going to create a new task called add Angular support to ParallelStories.Web. That's what we're going to do next time. And then we'll add another as well. We'll add ooh, this is going to be tough. What should we do after we've added Angular? We should add username and password input fields. And we'll do that using Bootstrap and Angular. That'll give us a little fun little thing to do. I know that might not seem fun to some people, but if that's the case, why are you watching this video? You know? So, can I refresh this now? I can. And there we have it. So this is the one we're going to do next time, so I'll assign it to myself. And I think that's me for this video. Hopefully that was educational to someone. I know there wasn't much in there apart from hitting new project and deleting some stuff, but that's fine. Next time we'll be doing Angular, and that will be at least a little bit more interesting. So until that time, check yourself before you wreck yourself, yo.